Q. How is the First Amendment relevant to Richard Spencer speaking on campus? A. Initially, the First Amendment is relevant to Richard Spencer speaking at the University of Florida campus because the University of Florida is a public institution, meaning it's a government entity. The First Amendment protects against government censorship, and so therefore the First Amendment is relevant because if the University of Florida were not to allow Richard Spencer to speak on campus, it would raise a First Amendment-based issue. If we were a private university, there would be no First Amendment issue, and a private university could exclude Richard Spencer from campus without raising any constitutional question. Q. How is this supported by the University of Florida Student Honor Code? A. Well, the University of Florida Student Honor Code suggests that the university is a marketplace of ideas. And as a marketplace of ideas, students should be exposed to all different viewpoints, even on subjects that might offend them, or even with viewpoints they might find offensive or disagreeable. So, to add to that, I think it's very important a university, a public university especially, should not be an echo chamber or filter bubble, where students are only exposed to ideas to which they agree, or that they like. So, the First Amendment is there to protect minority viewpoints, dissenting viewpoints. And by minority viewpoints, I don't mean necessarily racial minorities, or religious minorities or sexual minorities, the small fringe viewpoint. And so, Richard Spencer talked a lot about trying to spark discourse and discussion, and that's actually a useful thing on a college campus, as long as he is not trying to provoke violence and inciting people, his followers, to commit violence. Having discussions about issues involving race, especially a polarized climate in the United States today, I think, are very important. Q. Why must public universities allow, with regard to the law, speakers such as Spencer to come on campus, no matter how offensive or disagreeable their opinions may be? A. Part of the problem of trying to censor speech because it's offensive or disagreeable is defining what is offensive. The term offensive is hugely vague. One person is going to find something offensive that another person will not. At the Supreme Court in a case called Cohen v. California back in 1971 said that one man's vulgarity is another's lyric, and that taps into the notion that how do we define what is offensive? What is disagreeable? Some people are going to love what he says and others won't, and it's not the government's job to be in the business of drawing that line. So think of it this way: for people who don't want Richard Spencer to speak on campus, most of those people also don't like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is the government. Would they like Donald Trump to decide what's offensive and disagreeable to him, and therefore exclude that speech? Probably not. So we have to tolerate under the First Amendment a lot of speech that is intolerant of others, and so that's kind of an irony of having the First Amendment.